Dylan's here.
Good evening.
How are we doing, Gemma?
You are now streaming live.
Okay, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the meeting. Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Joint Transportation Board. Please note the meeting is being streamed live to the internet. Please could all members ensure that their microphone is set to mute unless they are speaking to reduce any background noise. Also ensure that any other devices nearby are switched to silent mode as they can be distracting. Members should use the raise hand button when they wish to speak, and then they will be asked to by the chairman, hopefully in order of that, and hopefully I will see them. All right, okay, on to the agenda. First on my agenda is basically the appointment of the chairman. Notice his appointment. I think I've been volunteered again. Yes. Are we all content with that? It's not we have an awful lot of choice. Point two, number 2 on the agenda is appointment of the vice chairman. I think our local hero, David Godfrey, has been nominated for that. So we're all content for that. Thank you. And then we've got the welcome introduction. Now, this obviously is a new committee. So basically, what we'd like to see is if you want to go around the table and just introduce yourselves if you can, because I think people out there in the real world might not know you. So I'll start off, I'll kick off, and then I'll call you out one after as my screen dictates. So I'm Tony Hills. I represent Romney Marsh for KCC, and basically I'm chairing this meeting. Next on my list would be Frank. Do you want to introduce yourself, Frank? I'm muted at the moment.
Right. Sorry, Chairman. Yeah, Frank Hobbs, representing the parish and town councils of the district.
Thank you. Councillor Terry Mullard.
Was that me?
Yeah, it was you, Terry. Don't worry.
Yeah, Terry Mullard. I'm a district councillor for Romney Marsh Ward.
Thank you, Terry.
That's it.
Anne, Councillor Anne Berry.
Yes, I'm the councillor for Broadmead Ward for Folkestone Town Council and Hythe District Council.
Thank you for that. Andy Weatherhead.
Hi, yeah, Andy Weatherhead, Kent County Councillor for Hythe West.
Thank you, Andy. David Godfrey.
Yes, hello. David Godfrey, Cabinet Member at Folkestone Hythe District Council for Transport, Housing and Special Products, and I represent North Downs East.
Rory Love.
Yes, good evening, Chairman. Rory Love, Kent County Councillor for Cheriton, Sandgate and Hythe East.
Thank you. Jackie Mead.
Good evening, Jackie Mead, Town and District Councillor for Folkestone East and KCC Councillor for the East Folkestone Division.
Thank you. John Wing.
Thank you, Chair. John Wing, District Councillor for Hythe Rural.
Okay, Susan, can you hear me? Susan Carey.
Yes, I can. Thank you, Chairman. My name's Susan Carey. I'm here tonight as Kent County Councillor for Elam Valley, and I'm the newest Kent County Councillor.
And well polished. Peter Gain.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Peter Gain, District Councillor for Cheriton and Town Councillor for Cheriton West.
And the one and only Dylan Jeffrey.
Thank you, Chairman. Dylan Jeffrey, Councillor for Folkestone West, Kent County Council.
Right, just so that people know, we have some officers here from the various organisations. If I can go to James Bowen first.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. My name is James Bowen. I'm the interim district manager for Folkestone Hythe on behalf of KCC Highways.
Thank you, James. Fred.
Good evening, all. I'm Fred Miller, transportation lead specialist for Folkestone Hythe.
Thank you, Fred. And Paul.
I'm Paul Thompson. I'm the Folkestone Hythe District Council Highway Engineer.
That's great. Thank you, Paul. And we have two of our civic staff here as well to help us run this show on the road, Sue Lewis and Gemma West. You want to say anything, ladies, or are you okay?
Oh, we're fine, thank you.
Okay. Well, number 4 on the agenda is apologies for absence. Do we have any, Sue?
No, we've had no apologies. Everybody's here, thank you.
Ah, brilliant. Excellent. Okay. Next on my list is declarations of interest. Do we have any of those? Are we all good to go on that?
Susan, Councillor Carey has
Sorry,
her hand
Susan, I
up.
didn't see that. Yes, you did. Thank you, Sue.
Yes, actually, for the first time ever in, I think it's 16 years on the Joint Transportation Board, the road where I live is actually on the agenda. It's North Road, and obviously I need to declare a personal interest.
Quite right, too. Thank you for that, Susan. Okay, well, moving on, there's no more. Oh, sorry, Jackie, I didn't quite see that.
Yeah, sorry, I'd better declare that I do work for Network Rail. So
Well,
obviously, as we go forward, that might be.
Yeah,
necessary.
that comes up as well noted. Thank you, Jackie, for that. Right, and that's it. So we're going on then to the minutes, point 6 on the agenda. Does anybody have any points? Well, I assume you've all read the minutes from cover to cover. Do we have any points that you want to? I mean,
Chairman.
correct or yes? Sorry,
I have raised my hand.
oh, you did. Sorry, Peter. I've got a
Um,
small screen.
A couple of things. One is on the minutes, it says a further reported use of Ashley Avenue, Cheriton by vehicles over 7.5 tonnes accessing the aggregate and recycling plant at Steeses Way would be submitted to the next meeting of the JTB. Well, I can't see it on the agenda.
What page was that, Peter?
It's on the minutes. It's
Yeah,
Page 10.
it's the last bit, page 10. Yeah.
Thank you, Sue. Yes, you're quite right. Any responses there from our staff? No? Okay, well, we'll have to carry it forward to the next one, unfortunately, Peter. I'll get a response for you.
Also, we did, the county were doing a consultation regarding cycle away across Cheriton High Street, Cheriton Road. I know they did that, but that's never come to JTB from what I can find out. So will that be an agenda item?
Well, let's ask James and see what he says.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I've made a note of the guys of the cycleway. So was that Cheriton?
Yes. Cheriton High Street, Cheriton Road.
Yeah, Ashley Avenue.
No, the Ashley Avenue one is on here. The other one isn't.
Okay.
But they did do a consultation a few months ago, and I'm wondering when it's coming to JTB.
Right. Well, we'll have to go to the next one, I'm afraid, Peter. But they've been noted, and we'll no doubt answer those at the next meeting.
Chairman, may I, sorry not to raise my hand, but I appear not to have a raised hand button immediately
hidden, is it?
hand. But may I just help to fill in perhaps a bit of the background or a bit of the progress on the Ashley Avenue, because I know this is something that concerned both Peter Gain, Councillor Gain as District Councillor and myself as County Councillor. I have actually had an invitation to a meeting with the operators of the site, which I haven't managed to do that yet, but I'm hoping to get along there. I know that there was some very rapid responses from our highways officer team, for which I was extremely grateful, with the placement of some temporary signage directing HGVs along Tilekiln Lane rather than Ashley Avenue. And this is not a scientific survey, but it appears to me from anecdotal evidence, and if you like, from a lack of anecdotal evidence from residents of Ashley Avenue, that appears to have been working. for the longer term, that's when a meeting with the site operators will be helpful. I suspect that it's actually more convenient anyway for HGVs to access the site via Talkiln Lane, which was what was always intended. But there seemed to be some confusion, and I suspect it may be a confusion by the agents of the operators who perhaps misread some of the restrictions that apply, and the planning application may have set a few hairs running which needn't have been set running in the first place. But I'm happy to report back at the next meeting after having a site visit and discussing further with officers.
Yes, that would be very useful, Rory, if you could do that. And if you'd let Sue Lewis know, or Kate, and we can make that an agenda item of who would report back. Okay, thank you. Right, if that's okay.
Chairman.
Yes,
Dylan's got his.
Yeah, I didn't realise we were going to be discussing Ashley Avenue, so I should declare an interest, as one of the workplaces that I work for is placed on Ashley Avenue.
Thank you, Dylan. That's been noted. Thank you for that. Okay, right, that's good. So are we content then with those bits being mentioned? We can approve the minutes as they stand at the moment with those amendments, and going forward we'll make those agenda items for the next meeting. Sorry, Susan.
No, I'm happy to propose acceptance of the minutes with those amendments. And I'd like to point out to my colleagues, if they're having trouble finding where to raise their hands, it's under reactions.
There you go. Obviously an expert, which is more than I am. Okay, are we content with that? Yes, we can move on.
We've had a proposer. Have you got a seconder for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Mrs. Berry.
Thank you, Anne. Right, okay, going on then, we'll come up to point 7 on my agenda, Highways Work Programme, pages 11 to 26. That's quite extensive. I normally do it by page numbers, but if it gets confusing to anybody, just let me know and we'll try and sort out what's what. First page, page number 11. Is there any points anybody wants to raise on that? No, good. Page 12, traffic systems, combined members grant and the rest. Anything on that page? And then we get into the meat of it, Appendix A, page 13. It's quite a long list there. I hope you had a chance to scan down them. Any points that people want to raise? I'm trying to spot any hands. No? Okay. Going on to page 14.
Mr. Chairman, I did raise.
Yes.
I put some thumbs up rather than raised hand. I do apologise. Just on page 13, it was on the road asset renewal scheme. It's got Cherry Garden Avenue. I just want clarification. Is that still the route for vehicles coming from the new harbour development? And therefore, what impact would there be on road asset renewal from the heavy goods vehicles going up and down?
Okay, yeah. Anybody want to answer that one? That one for you, James?
So thank you, Chair. Can I just ask for that be repeated, that question again, Chair? Notes here.
It's the item A2034 Cherry Garden Avenue. Folks, around about with the A20 to something close. Is that one you were referring to, Dylan?
That's correct. And that the Cherry Garden Avenue currently is the transportation route for all vehicles to do with the Folkestone Seafront development.
Right.
Therefore, I just wondered, would it make sense to have postponed the road asset renewal if they are still churning up the road?
Good point.
Rather than, have to do it again shortly afterwards.
Well, yeah, it's programmed for the August this year, but that's a very sensible suggestion, I would say, Dylan. But let's see what James thinks. What do you think, James?
Yeah, so my line up here, right. No, good point there. Like I said, open for 1st of August.
James, you're breaking up quite a bit. I don't know if you've got problems with your Wi-Fi.
Can you hear me now, Chair?
Yes, I can.
Good. Yeah, the laptop's playing up as well. Bear with. No, good point. Obviously, with this extra traffic, is it worth actually postponing the site? What I'll do, Chair, let me take this back to the relevant, and I'll feed back at the earliest for you.
Okay, if you could email Dylan and our clerk, so we know what's going on, we can make that note for the next meeting as well. Okay. Any other points on page 13? We've got surface dressing as well. Road asset preservation schemes. Anything else? Susan, yes.
I want to complain about the spelling mistakes. We always have this with this report. It's not Bear Forstall Lane as in a big growly bear, and Acres has an E at the end, and Etching Hill is one word. And as we Kent Highways hold the gazetteer of the street names and that, it really would make us all happy, I think, if you could actually get the names right, and we'd have more confidence that the works are going to go ahead correctly.
Right, has that been noted, James?
Yeah, been noted, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else on page 13? No.
Chairman.
Oh, sorry, Peter. Yeah, just
you're reading numbers out, but none of the report I've got has got any numbers on it.
No, they are numbered.
Not the one I've got.
Are you looking at the agenda pack that we sent out, Councillor Gain, or the one that's been issued? Because it has got some numbers on there.
The one that's on the internet. And anybody watching,
Definitely numbered on ModGov. Definitely numbered.
Yes,
I
it
can't
is.
use my
Definitely.
iPad, so I can't get into ModGov. So I'm looking at what any
okay.
normal person would do, and it's not numbered.
Okay, fair enough, Peter.
The page numbers should be the same, as far as I'm aware, with the pack. So
and it's numbered on the ones on the website as well.
Mm.
Well, the one I'm looking at isn't.
Maybe it's cut off at the bottom of your screen. Okay, what I'll do, I'll go through.
There's no numbers on it.
Okay, well, I'll go through on page 13, and this is Appendix A, road, footway and cycle renewal and preservation schemes. Going down, it's got the road asset renewal schemes, micro surfacing and surface dressing. You okay with that, Peter?
Yeah.
All right. Going on to page 14, it carries on to retread and footway cycle asset renewal and preservation schemes. Have you got any on those, Peter, or anybody else? Oh, I saw Roy. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I wouldn't normally single out one particular one to extend praise for, but I'm going to on this occasion because it's an example, I think, of the way that the Kent County Council Highways team pay attention even to roads that have hardly any residents. And one of them is in my division, Blue House Lane. It only has 2 properties. And yet we're taking the time to surface dress the road. And I just think, sometimes people say, oh, well, they don't care about us. There's only 2 or 3 properties here, or there's only half a dozen properties here. And actually, no, we do. It's a tribute, I think, to the renewal program now that's underway at Kent Highways, that, we actually look, or the council actually looks at every road and does it in accordance with a particular timetable. So I'm delighted. It's a long way of saying I absolutely welcome this resurfacing for a road with only a couple of properties in my division. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you for that, Rory. It's always a good way, two-way street, not just to complain, but also to congratulate when they do get it right. That's good. That's healthy. So, Peter, you've got your hand up. Is that historical or?
No. No, that should come down.
Okay. Terry, your hand's flowing up as well.
Yeah, it's the point that I am alive. The point that was made earlier about spelling, I'm not aware of All Gaswick Farm Road in Hythe. I am aware of All Garswick Avenue in Dymchurch. Are they the same spelling or not? if so, is all Gaswick spelt wrong?
I'll leave that one to Sue Lewis to check out for us.
Yeah.
I know
I
she's
can't imagine two places having that weird name with different spellings.
somebody loves it somewhere, Terry. No, that's fine. Thank you for that, and we'll see. Right, going on then. We finished page 14, footway cycle asset renewal preservation schemes on that page. Going over to page 15, which is drainage works. And appendix B, drainage works. Any questions there for anybody?
No.
No? Content? Okay, thank you. Going on to appendix C, street lighting. This is page 16. Is anybody would like to raise down there for us? Can't see any hands. No, thank you. Right, moving on, appendix D, transportation safety schemes, casualty reduction measures, local transport plan funded schemes. That's page 17. Is anything down that one want to raise? No?
Councillor
Yes.
Godfrey.
Thank you, Councillor Godfrey. Yep.
I'll unmute. Yeah, just that halfway down A260 Auckland Valley Road and Canterbury Road, the scheme to have a no right turn trial has been shelved. I'd be interested to know why that's been shelved, and I'm a bit disappointed that members weren't told, local members, because the local residents have been told that that's going to happen.
Right, is there anybody can answer that one? You spring into action, James. Go on.
Yeah, Chair, can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic. Yeah, I took an A260 earlier. Obviously, I haven't got no numbers for you now, Chair. But let me take this away, because even though the scheme has been shelved, it would be nice to have a little bit with that as well. Why? And
Okay.
plans possibly.
That's
so,
fine, James. You are breaking up a bit, so it'd be quite good for you to email Councillor Godfrey and also Sue Lewis and Kate Clark, give a sense of, so we all know what's going on. That can be minuted properly with an answer for Councillor Godfrey. Okay, David?
That's fine, thank you. I'd be interested to know that.
Yeah.
See if
We've
there's
got
any
one from
replacement.
Peter Gain. Is your hand up, Peter? Has that gone down? Okay, no. Susan Carey.
Yes, I too would be interested in knowing why the scheme's been shelved, but I do note that just a bit further down the page, there are works that have been done, and there's a traffic survey. So I'm guessing that they're waiting for the results of the traffic survey before they decide which way to go on the schemes to try and improve safety at that really difficult junction.
Thank you for that. Peter, are you back in place? Is that your
Yeah, sorry, I thought I heard the door, but it wasn't.
The virtual was such fun.
It's a couple of things. One is the A2034 Cheriton Road junction with Cherry Garden Avenue, Folkestone. Oh, my question is about the possible upgrade or additional street lighting. I really think something does need to be done at that junction, because you quite regularly see one of the bollards down where a car's gone into it.
Right. Okay.
And
That's been noted. Yeah, it's just scheme on hold, I believe.
Yeah, and the second one is the Risborough Lane junction with Church Road. I've had, oh, can you excuse me a minute? Somebody is at the door.
So while Peter's doing his door, can I just mention about Lyd Road 2075 and Hammond's Corner? That's great news in the sense the design work is underway. I think it's actually complete. And I have hopes we can find funding for that. It's going to be costing an awful lot of money, but it's worth it. So hang on one second, Peter. So hopefully we can find funding for that. So I think this is one we have to push for, particularly with the decommissioning of the power station. Sorry, Peter, go on.
Yeah, we've had residents get on to me regarding this, and the question is that the extra traffic that is now starting to go on to Risborough Lane from the new development at Shorncliffe is worrying residents who are crossing the road to go to the school. Now, in this particular issue, that we have got a dropped curb and almost a crossing point. The only thing it hasn't got is the actual zebra crossing in it. The rest of it's all done.
Okay.
As a crossing point. So I don't see why it would cost that much to actually do it.
James, could you look into that for us?
Yes, sorry, Chair. I didn't quite get all that information. Got up to zebra cross. I didn't get any more. Did that last bit be repeated?
James, we're having real problems listening to you. You're breaking up ever such a lot. I don't really know.
The best thing to do, Peter, could you email Sue Lewis or Kate Clark, and then she'll pass it on to James.
Okay.
Get a response that way, because it will need explaining a little bit more so James knows which one it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Moving on to page 18, which is carrying on from the previous area, and LTP schemes Folkestone Hythe. There's only a couple there. Any questions for anybody? Is that your legacy hand up there?
Yeah, I think it's still up.
Okay. Right, nothing there. Okay, well, moving on. Appendix E, developer funded works, page 19 in my pack. Developer funded works, section 278 agreement works. There's quite a long list there. Is anything people would like to raise? Rory?
Oh, yeah.
Rory goes first.
Thank you, Chairman. There's a couple, if I may, on this report. The first one is the Cheriton High Street, Ref 3052. It's shown as complete, but unless, bear with me, unless the bus shelter has been restored since I last visited, and I don't think it has, then surely this isn't complete until the bus shelter is back. There's a bus shelter that was removed during the works, and I wonder if I could get some guidance on that, and perhaps a time scale on that. And, you know, apologies in advance if over the last week or so it's gone back in, but certainly a couple of weeks ago one of my residents was on to me about this. Do you want me to go straight on to the second one as well, Chairman?
Mine as well, Rory. Yes, go on.
Okay. Well, the second one is.
I assume James is making notes.
The second one is Cheriton High Street. That's assuming that he can hear what I'm saying with the internet connection. But the second one is Cheriton High Street. Now, I've been, it's Cheriton Interchange, in fact, and I've been pursuing this since last December. And I think I've made a case fairly successfully, even to the agreement of some of the highways officers who have been in the area, that this is a dangerously confusing pedestrian crossing without pedestrian traffic light controls. And I've asked for this to be taken up as part of the stage 3 safety audit. The email trail seems to go cold every time Kent County Council is in touch with the developers, with Taylor Wimpey. And it appears to me, and you know, I may be doing them an injustice, but it appears to me that Taylor Wimpey are not engaging with our highway officers, and they are, of course, the developers who are funding all of this. And I wonder if an action point can be taken away from this meeting to get some answers on when the stage 3 safety audit is going to take place, and at the end of the day, when we can get pedestrian controls with press buttons and pedestrian lights in this very dangerous crossing. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Rory. James, did you get that, James, or not?
Yes, I did, Chair.
Okay, well, I'll let you feed that one back. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair.
Go on.
Yeah, I have been kind of or before we started this here today.
That was one word in two, James.
I think if James is having real problems here, I think if James is making a note of all the points that are made,
yes,
then I think he needs to list them all and put the responses that have been requested to me, and I will filter them out to members in one go. If you've got all the
That's
notes
great.
from everything, then I'll filter them all
Yeah.
out. Obviously,
I
they
think
will.
James can hear us, Susan.
Yeah, they'll be included within the
Yeah,
within
and
the
I think
minutes
it's a
as
very
well.
good idea, Sue.
It's a bit
and
of
I'm
an
sure
issue,
he'll
I
do
think.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope
good.
members are happy with that, but I can't see us doing any other way if James
No,
isn't coming
that's
across
quite
properly.
practical.
Chairman, may I briefly just come back in response to about the one word that I did catch from James? Can I just confirm and clarify that our highways team, including James, have been working with me on this, and they really are pushing to get some kind of solution. And you know, the points I've just made are in no way a criticism of the work that they've done, because they've been absolutely exemplary. It's just that it goes cold when it gets to the developers. Thank you, Chairman.
No, I'm sure he appreciates that. Thank you, Rory. Peter, you're next on my list.
Thank you, Chairman. Actually, part of it Councillor Lovers covered, which was about the crossing, pedestrian crossing bit. The only thing I'd like to flag up is that when you go to turn right from the motorway coming off the roundabout, you have two lanes that then go into one. I actually think there's going to be an accident because some people speed up to try and beat the light and then go round. I have actually witnessed it, and I've almost been knocked out myself. I just have a little concern about the short period of the two going into one.
Okay, that's been noted, Peter. Again, James, back on your list. I'm getting an ever extensive list. Sorry, James.
That's fine.
Andy, I can see your hand up.
Good, Chairman, thank you. I'm going to use the umbrella of my first joint consultation board meeting to perhaps hide my ignorance on certain points. But I'm being made aware that there was a proposal with regard to development of Gammons Bridge. Proposal apparently was going to use some community construction funding. Sorry, is Peter trying to do something?
And that last bit I didn't get, Andy.
No, Peter was the company, so I didn't know whether he wanted to say something. So yeah, there's been a plan or a scheme developed for
Gammons Bridge.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing any reference to it, and it seems to be an ongoing activity.
Okay.
With regard to pedestrian crossings being activated, they're there, but they're not actually plumbed up.
Well, yeah, thanks for that, Andy. We'll get James to add it to his ever-increasing list.
Yep.
Come back, and we'll find out what's going on.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you for that. Frank, you got your hand up?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, it's more to do with things that haven't been on the agenda rather than things that are on the agenda. There are three things I wanted to sort of say that perhaps we should have had at some stage. Two of them have already been completely done. All of a sudden, there was a 40-mile-an-hour limit from Beechborough roundabout to Cheriton appeared. Didn't hear anything about that at any of these meetings. Recently, just west of Beechborough roundabout on the A20 is now a set of traffic lights outside the back entrance to the Fennel Tunnel. Again, that didn't appear on any of the agendas. The third one probably might not have appeared here, but Susan is, I know, on the case. In the main road into Elam from Lyminge, all of a sudden there is a whole great line of black and white bollards have appeared. The parish council at Elam had no notification or consultation about it whatsoever. They look hideous where they are.
Right, thank you for that, Frank. I know James is making a list of things, but it would be, I think you're right. Communication is key, particularly in your role as chair of CALC. And I think you should keep informed of any updates as and when they happen. It'll make your life easier, and I think that'd be a good idea for members. So if you can make a note of that, Sue, as well. That would include Frank, his calc role to make sure it's up to date. Susan, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I think it's it needs saying that Joint Transportation Board is every 3 months, and it's not always possible to have all the projects in. And of course, the one that Frank refers to by the Channel Tunnel service emergency exit is actually not in Frank's own parish, so he wouldn't have been consulted about it. But I believe Newington Parish Council were, because it is in their area, and that's to do with bringing the speed down from 60 to 40 because of the lorries turning out of there, because they've ended up going into the Channel Tunnel entrance rather than carrying on their journey either to the normal network or to Dover Port. So it was a safety measure, and I'm aware of that, and I'm certainly aware as the local member. The one about the 42 wonky plastic bollards outside Elam happened in the 5 weeks when I was not a county councillor, and indeed there was not a county councillor at all. And of course, nobody is claiming any sort of responsibility for these at all. However, I think it has now been agreed that they are not needed. And my latest correspondence with Elam Parish Council, who are meeting tonight, is that actually they don't want any there at all. And where I had left it was that should there be any needed, I would be using member grant to pay for nice wooden bollards. But I think everyone is inching towards the conclusion that the height of the curb is such that they're not needed. What happens, I think, is that highways officers respond to requests that they get in from members of the public sometimes, and they're being helpful. And they really do need to check with their local member and the parish council, because sometimes we've got this tension between people who want notices up and bollards in and the speed limits changed and what have you. And not always are these generally supported. So it's really important that the highways colleagues who are here tonight understand they need to get buy-in from local member and the parish council. And if they've any sense at all, they'll get that in writing.
Okay, thank you for that, Susan. But communication is the key. Yep. Okay, going on then. If there's no more points on that on page 19.
Chair, if I
Yes, sorry.
just, I did raise my hand, but I think it goes down after a while. Just going back a little bit to what Councillor Love was inquiring about the bus shelter outside Tesco. Just to give you a kind of update, I don't quite know exactly where we are with it at the moment, but there's been a bit of an issue with the bus shelter was originally damaged. Then they ordered, the contractors then ordered another one, which wasn't the right one. Then I think they changed the layout slightly so that it was in a different position than what was agreed by Stagecoach and the developers and KCC. And then they were looking with Clear Channel, the company that provide the shelter, because the one that they ordered doesn't have any advertising panels, and that's how we get the funding for sort of maintenance and things through Clear Channel. I haven't really been involved other than I've just been copied into threads. So at the moment, it's a case of watch this space, but there are discussions going on in the background as to what's going on with the shelter. So it is due to be replaced. As of yet, I don't quite know what with or when, but there will be something there.
Thank you, Paul. That's very helpful, actually. Okay, Roy, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very grateful to Paul for that update, and I wonder whether I could ask that he keeps me posted on any further progress from his angle, because that would be extremely helpful. And even just having information to pass on to one particular local resident, but many local residents as well. There's one who contacts me. I think they all get together and one of them phones me. Would be very helpful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. Right, moving on then, if there's no more comments on page 19, page 20, which is the continuation of that, which is the developer funded works. Any points for raising on this on page 20?
No.
Rory?
Thank you, Chairman. On the Royal Military Avenue one, I notice that there's a review underway to look at the modification of the entrance to the new development. I wonder whether that might also be an opportune time to review the restoration of the streetlights to this part of Royal Military Avenue, particularly given that there is going to be increased usage. I have asked before that the streetlight position is reviewed because of pedestrian access to both a nursery and to the theatre, and that wasn't sufficient, it seemed, to get the matter reviewed. There used to be streetlights there, and then they were taken away, and the whole area was plunged into darkness, which is not entirely safe for local residents. But what I'm thinking is that if there's going to be further traffic, then it may be a trigger point to take another look. And I wonder if officers could advise me on that, please.
Okay, thank you. Right, moving on. Andy, you're next on my list.
Hi, Chair. Thank you. With regard to Martello Lakes Phase 3 Dymchurch Road under technical review, would that technical review also embrace the thought of crossings? I won't go so far as to say pedestrian crossings in the sense of full-blooded traffic lights, but certainly a road island. There is a continuing concern amongst residents along the Dymchurch and Hyde roads, trying to get from one side to the other, especially bus stops, and it's something that needs to be looked at. And if Martello is going through a technical review, it's now the right time.
You've got that one, Paul. It's basically keep that member informed, as other members informed, of updates as and when they happen. Peter, you want to make another point, or is that historical?
Thank you, Chairman. A couple of things. One is I'd like to fully agree with Councillor Love regarding Royal Military Avenue, although it's North Road, I think. But also that the new doctor's surgery is going next to the theatre. So there's going to be more need to have some lighting in that area along North Road. Also, I don't think West Road is in Cheriton. I think that's in Sandgate, because I believe Pond Hill is the edge of Cheriton and half of North Road is. I think the other side of it is all Sandgate.
Okay. You got that, James?
Bear with us, Chair. Was that West? Chair?
I think the old nursery on West Road, I think, is in Sandgate. I don't think that's in Cheriton.
I'll let James check that one out, Peter, because I think if he tries to explain it at the moment, you won't get part of study at half a story.
Yeah, and the other bit is North Road being the fact that the doctors and the new doctor's surgery and the chemist is going in a building that's been built next door to the theatre and the nursery. So what Councillor was saying about that plunge into darkness, there's going to be more people using facilities along there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. One point I can raise myself, James, that Cockreed Lane, which is in my division, New Romney, SH3070, resurfacing the whole road, that's fine, it needs to be done. But like when it's under technical review, I'd like some sort of time scales, these things, when the review is going to be a bit open-ended.
Yep.
I appreciate you're not going to put that work in until the development's complete, but I would like to tell my residents roughly when we're looking at it, 21, 22 or 23?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Right, moving on then. Page 21, which is Appendix F, Bridge Works. Does anybody have any views on those? I can't see any hands up at the moment. So we're happy with the bridge works, are we? Okay, good. Again, just an update on the timings on 1 and 2 in my area there. It would be useful just to keep it updated. It's a bit bland. That's good. Going on to Appendix G, same page 21, traffic schemes. There's no schemes allowed for at the moment, no schemes planned. So moving on swiftly to page 22, Appendix H, Combined Members Grant Program update rather. Member Highway Fund Program updated from Folkestone High District. There's one down there, which is my traffic island, which is, I don't understand, James, as I said to you previously.
Yeah.
I don't see how it can be cancelled out because the road's not wide enough. And the whole point was making the road wider, reducing the size of the island. It's a bit counterintuitive, that one. So if someone could come back to me on that one, as I've already been told it's going ahead. Rory, there's one down there for you at Tanner's Hill, Saltwood. And then there's one more from me down at Cochrane about the traffic surveys. And I'm getting a lot of complaints, as I said before, James, about speeding vehicles, as you've had to redirect traffic on the new development coming down the old Ashford Road. So I'll be looking forward to those surveys, which are planned to start next week. How long do they take, James, these traffic surveys?
Chair.
You're breaking up worse than ever, actually, James.
Wait.
I think you're going to have to email us. Anyway, moving on then. If no other hands are raised on that page. Right, page 23, no works here as such. That was the appendix, the public rights of way. There's nothing listed there. Appendix J, page 24, street works. It's quite a long list. Is there any points that people would like to raise? Are any hands going to go up? Terry, I can see you're flashing your hand there.
Yes, Chairman. Naturally, I'm pleased to see the resurfacing happening in Dymchurch. Can I, at this point, though, raise the point that other members will have noticed the very nice new pavement and cycleway virtually along the Hyde Ranges, certainly opposite the Martello Lakes. Very nice, except in that not only are weeds and grass growing in the guttering, they're coming up out of the pavement now. And I just wonder, it not only looks bad, but it's, dare I say, I'm not quite sure how these weeds and plants and triffids are growing out of the pavement. Perhaps that can be checked out.
Okay. I think that's another one for you, James. Thumbs up, excellent. Any other points that people want to raise? No?
No.
Okay. Right, moving on. I think that's the end of the work situation. The works program. On to number 8 on our agenda, planning of road closures. Now, if I can just say a quick word about this. This was something raised by Councillor Ian Myers with me. He was trying to get his wife to hospital for cancer treatment, and the roads are being closed. And he felt that most roads he wanted to get off the marsh were closed at the same time. And he thought this is very unfortunate because it delayed his journey. But I'd wondered how much joined up thinking there is on road closures, and how much notification there is to local members on this. Because if it close one, it'll put pressure on another. they're closed too, and so on and so on. So James, it's something I'd like you to have a little think about there. Is that okay?
Absolutely, absolutely, Chair.
Yeah. Any other points there at all? No, no one wants to raise. Okay, that gets me to the end of my agenda, which I'm extremely happy.
Well done.
Thank you, Terry. So I'll bring this meeting to a close then, and hopefully see you soon. But hopefully all the stuff will go through to you from James, and we'll get it coordinated. Because the point Rory made every 3 months is quite a long time. But thank you, and good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tony. Well done.